and then just make one on SG is just dead, just bleed through everyone. But we'll have to see from DNM. But
Also, Octarine Core. Literally could not remember Octarine Core's name for about 3 minutes there. It finally came to me. I want to let everyone know how dumb I am. I didn't cheat and look it up. It actually just took me that long to remember its name.
well, now the puck's going for one, so we'll have it soon. Fingers crossed. Some more farm, but I mean, it is concerning, and it's fine now because Five Rat are, still biding their time, not too bothered. But Five Rat need to continuously connect here on the rats here. The rats need to find the rats. The rats can't allow themselves to get ratted. Otherwise, these lanes, they get pushed in. AXY, watching bottom, he goes for it. Still one creep though, does survive, and that's not the best orb, but with the Blink Dagger, we'll be able to survive here, but that's where Speed, he's looking. Backdoor does kick out though, so DNM will be able to get this tier 2. A lot of pressure though, but they need to continuously force this puck to the fringe. You cannot just let her get those waves in. This is where Yuma gets even more time. He's not focusing on showing in the lanes. He's just farming the jungle. So your two options are to kill the rats on LTH mid or to kill Yuma. And really, Five Rat have not shown any inclination at looking at the Troll Warlord in his own triangle just yet here. They definitely are a little bit more obsessed with pushing this high ground in. KXY. That's the wave. Doesn't go forward though. So this tier 3 eating a lot of damage. There is a glyph though.
Oh, they're going to spit a creep at him. That's going to stun him up. Pushes DNM back for just a moment, but he doesn't want to give up on the siege. He really would like that glyph. It does come through just as the back door is kicking in as well. Yuma, though, has not moved. He is going to TP now, though, making his way back home. He's got Satanic. He's got a Paladin Sword. He doesn't have his Basher just yet, but the right circumstances, he could put up one hell of a fight, but it looks like they are still going to lose the... Okay, well, he'll definitely lose it if Yuma's going to just straight deny it, but... To be honest, you get your glyph back immediately.
They're turning around.
Yep. Speed. Jumping. Prada's not the greatest first kill. Oscar would certainly be worth more, though, but Oscar's able to fall back, but DNM's in a little bit of trouble. Do they lose the first life here? Not quite yet. SG have to be careful because Speed's looking to go in again. Blink is back up. Where's the initiation? There it is. They're in onto Oscar. Culling Blade is in for the quick and easy kill. And Oscar does not have buyback at the moment. Neither does Prada. KXY is going to burn that Aegis. Drops the Dream Coil as well to make sure nobody's going to chase after him. But that's Dream Coil used.
Yeah, and now back in onto the bottom could just be the call. Nobody's able to get this wave out. Is naturally pushing in, but that's where we're just right back here to square one. And oh, swap! Okay, KXY.
Stunned up, taken down. He does have buyback, however. 90 seconds otherwise. And if he's not going to buy back, then I really think they're just giving up this entire lane of racks. Not sure if they're going to lose another because the tier 2s are still standing across those other lanes, ET, so Five Rat would have to go in for it. But Five Rat could also try this bait play again. Try and go for the feigned retreat for the third time in a row and see if they can catch anyone for the third time in a row.
And they're very poised for the jump. Very farmed as well. Dropping the Spell Prism there for AB1. Sends it back to the base, but also look over at DNM, and he is still just massive. Last time we looked at him, at 8,000 gold, buys a full Aghanim Scepter. Now he's got 5,000 gold in the bank again, so see where he goes next. But he's about to hit 25, 2 waveform charges. Very obnoxious to actually have to deal with. It's where if you already can't put a finger on him now, you can't even imagine what it's going to look like once he has that talent. Doesn't have a BKB, though. So versus the puck, maybe a slight vulnerability that you're going to see SG look for. They also give the puck the tome, so getting closer to that 25, or maybe you just commit it onto kits and then hope that it's enough damage to kill off the Queen of Pain, where Troll Lord can just stick on a hero. But that's also where SG, they can't just find a core. They need to find the backline as well. They need to find both the Gyrocopter and the Venge. Otherwise, AB1 is just able to carry anybody out of the team fight, and then they get that perfect reset, and everything just looks awful for you. And during this entire time, Puck does respawn, waits out the entire 80-second timer, but now we're back onto the lanes. But Puck looking for 25. That's going to be step 1 before SG, I think, really want to make another move.
He's looking for 25. Troll Warlord is looking... Well, he was looking really just for the Basher. Now he might have time for potentially the full Abyssal upgrade. That honestly might be a little bit iffy, because at this point you see Five Rat They're still holding a forward position, looking to see if anyone comes. The scan is going to reveal that they're here, however, so SG knows somebody is hanging out here, and if there's one hero up here, it's probably not one. It's probably basically the whole team.
Yeah, and onto the tier 2. Just gonna make sure it happens. It's funny, there is a clockwork out on the other side of the map just trying to farm up tier 4 neutral items right now, because really doesn't have that much to do, but see if Kits just bumbles into him, because, yeah, LTH. Oh, no.
Oh, that's very unfortunate. Tried to jetpack away, thinking he was running from Kits. Instead, he runs into speed and still dies, but it's buying time. Your Clockwork's death timer is 40+ seconds, but at this stage in the game, that's really not that bad. This, though, could be concerning. TP's coming in. I don't know if Yuma sees it. How many heroes will come over? 3 of them are in. They're going to look for a fight. They do get onto Prada. That's not the target that they wanted, but they're just going to have to take that free kill, and once again, SG have to fall back.
Yeah, and well, does become a little bit quieter here with the supports dead. 5-rat can just move up and, oh, a whiffed blink, but
Oscar's in.
okay, lasso.
They get the silence down onto the Vengeful Spirit, so there's not going to be a swap play coming out just yet. Even the Dream Coil on the backline, but Yuma, he needs more damage. He just can't do it. The Culling Blade's going to kill him off. Oscar's dead, and with no buyback ZT, that might just be the game.
Yeah, didn't pop a Satanic, didn't think he'd need it, and now you don't have buyback. Your puck is getting taken down here. Still very elusive, but I think DNM should just be able to brute force this down. This feels like at the very least Megas. They do have a glyph, but I don't know. I don't have the confidence anymore. I feel like this just should be it with 5-rat taking the game, but we'll see. They haven't called it yet. Maybe a play with the Snapfire to kind of punctuate this game, but we'll see. This is feeling like an almost impossible hold, however.
5-rat are going to play it a little bit safer. They'll go from the Megas instead of just pushing straight for the win, so... Oh, okay, that's going to lead into a fight, though, but this feels like desperation, really, and it's not going to work out. LTH gets taken down. He'll buy back immediately. KXY still on the front line, but who can he really take down here? He's trying to get some damage onto DNM. DNM will live. LTH just hooked all the way out of base, though, and... well, now he's going to get punished for it. The KXY tries to make a move, jumps in, gets the Dream Coil down. Speed will fall. But now KXY is going in the wrong direction. He is leaving his base, and 5-rat are just going to try to focus on objectives once again. But Parada's going to buy back. KXY TP's home, and... well, 5-rat showing a surprising amount of restraint here as they do back away from the base.
Yeah, no, doesn't get the heals on the Merlin either. But yeah, retreats, doesn't get the full Megas, gets 2 buybacks forced out. Yuma gets to respawn, and I guess the game's not over yet. 30k net worth lead feels pretty nice if you're 5-rat, but doesn't want to throw the game away just yet. And we'll have to see, because maybe this is an opportunity for SG to make a turnaround. Kind of feels like they need to snowball some of these kills, but now there is that level 25 on KXY. So if you're not too careful, even though you have so many luxury items, even though you have a lot to give in these team fights, if you can start chaining down Kits or DNM, maybe that's enough time for Yuma to actually stick onto somebody and just straight up kill them off. But we'll have to see. It is still quite the uphill battle.
Yeah, I mean, they're down nearly 30k. It's going to take a hell of a lot of effort to mount a comeback here, ET, but they get the chance to try, which is more than we were really looking for out of SG Esports as of like 2 minutes ago. So they're not going to look a gift horse in the mouth if their opponents are going to give them one last shot. Let's see what they can build for. Overwhelming Blink, finished on KXY. Got those final couple of tier 4s coming out. Yeah, Yuma didn't really care for any of them, still just holding the Titan Sliver, so... he is farming his way. What is this? A Blink Dagger for him, which... I don't know. You just swap your boots out at that point. You're going to be slow as hell, but if he's maybe ulting in the fights, then it might make up for it.
He's purely just trying to capitalize off of that coil jump as much as humanly possible. He is going to try and hit a hero for 6 seconds during it, and then maybe even longer if they can somehow force a coil stun, but I think that's where you gotta look at Oscar. If his flame breaks, maybe he's actually able to cause that 9-second window to happen, but smoke on smoke, Push is gonna respawn. Look at the breaks.
Gets breaks first. LTH LTH. Okay, he's just straight up gone. No buyback available. He's dead for 60 as the puck is now trying to fall back. Able to get away, but that does lead 5-Rat into the pit. Aegis Cheese and the Ag Synth all available. DNM's going to get it started. There's going to be a play in from the puck, though, just trying to make sure they know who's here. And yeah, 5-Rat still showing that respect. Because if they get caught by a big Dream Coil in the pit, they'd still be in some serious trouble because those kisses would really wreak havoc on their lineup. As Oscar's going to try to make the jump in, but they don't manage to get it. They can't get the lasso. Oscar's in trouble. He's dropping low. Can he survive? For now, he can, but Yuma can't. Yuma's dead. Lasso doesn't matter. He's immediately killed by the Culling Blade, and well, fight's over, game's over. There's the GG called. Yuma will concede defeat, and 5-Rat tie it up at 1-1.
Oh boy, yeah, just too quick on the fingers there from DNM. Just mances off the lasso, and of course, he can't mance off lasso, but it ends up being a disconnect. You aren't able to get just that blink initiation, reacts to his Lincolns getting popped, and then Yuma, who jumped purely on the lasso, did not wait for the coil, just said, I believe in you, man. I hope that you're going to be able to land this, but also doesn't pop the Satanic, the BKB, and the Battle Trance at the same time. So dies in his own ulti for what felt like 6th or 7th time in that game. But 5-Rat keeping their head down and now maintaining their position because, well, next game, assuming draft-wise, 5-Rat can do everything in their power to force their opponents into that sad position. Now the hammer's reversed. We're at least going to get a game for them this best of 5, but 5-Rat are the ones in the driver's seat yet again.
They're able to seize some momentum. DNM turns in a 0-death performance. That's always going to be good for team morale, and it's SG who are the ones who are going to need to make some changes here because it seemed like they had the answer in game 1. This game 2 lineup, however, really just seemed to be lacking something. Yuma, to his credit, he farmed incredibly well, but that really didn't matter. You know, he goes in, sometimes he didn't pop his BKB, sometimes he wouldn't pop his Satanic preemptively, and I understand the argument for efficiency, but if you don't pop those items, speed on the other side just completely destroyed them.
Well, yeah, and I think that's really the big difference here. Not just that, but also all 3 of 5-Rat's cores just performed this time. Speed was getting counted early on. He had maybe a slower start, but AB1 makes up for it with the stacks. DNM never skipped a beat. Kits was bodying KXY in the mid lane, making that matchup seem completely quap favored, even though it certainly isn't. Everybody just stepped it up a gear, and maybe, you know, say SG are coming hot into game 1, so they're going to feel a little bit warmer, a little bit more ready to actually play Dota, but come game 2, 5-Rat seemed angry. They seemed ready, and even though I think the draft ended up, I think, a little bit more dubious than they liked, but winning with first pick, I mean, it's a great look.
Yeah, it really just kind of goes to show those are the teams that we sort of put on that pedestal. Those are the teams that we hold up as, you know, that tier 1, tier 2 territory when it doesn't matter. When having sort of the wrong pick, quote unquote, or the wrong side does not actually impact your ability to win games. So 5-Rat, for a long time, ET, they weren't that kind of team, but they've been showing us a little bit of improvement here over the last couple of days in Pro Series, and they now tie up the series 1-1 as the best of 5 effectively kind of boils down to a best of 3.
Yep, and now, well, we'll have to see. I think SG, one mistake that they definitely made, though, was getting, I think, so scared of the axe that they didn't pick their own Morphling. Because I think in a very similar position to the Troll, they could have gone for the Morphling, and that would have been a deny pick. And then DNM's the one left without a hero, but almost get gamed a little bit. But I think still going into game 3, this Morphling hero has to be way more contested, either banned out or stolen, because I don't know. I think both DNM and Yuma can do it for both of these sides.
And we shall see if it's going to get banned or stolen, as we're going to be moving into that third game in just a little bit here. So we'll step aside, take a short break, and be back with some more action from our grand final in just a little bit.
Oh, baby, it's so damn dramatic. Sometimes I don't know where to go. Oh, he's my sunshine and my headache. But I keep coming back for more. Scary to admit that I'm falling for you while looking in your eyes. And there is nothing that I wouldn't do. I keep trying to break through, 'cause he got me so high. Just watching him, time flies. Make love to him daytime. I can't get enough. Yeah, he got me so high. Just watching him, time flies. Make love to him daytime. I can't get enough. 'Cause it's you that I love. I got to have it. You that I yearn for. So why you wanna let this go? I got to have it. You that I yearn for. So why you wanna let this go? You say I'm shady. What do you mean, boy? I try to figure out what's on your mind. If I could, I would give you the whole world. Just let me get close to you tonight. 'Cause he got me so high. Just watching him, time flies. Make love to him, they die. I can't get enough. Yeah, he got me so high. Just watching him, time flies. Make love to him, they time. I can't get enough. 'Cause it's you that I love. I got to have it. You that I yearn for. So why you wanna let this go? I got to have it. You that I yearn for. So why you wanna let this? You that I love. I got to have it. You that I yearn for. So why you wanna let this go? I got to have it. You that I yearn for. So why you wanna let this go? Why? He got me so high, just watching him, time flies. Make love to him daytime. I can't get enough. 'Cause it's you that I love. I got to have it. You that I yearn for. Why wanna let this go? I got to have it. You that I yearn for. You wanna let this go? I got to have it. You that I yearn for. Why wanna let this go? I got to have it. You that I yearn. You wanna let this go?
I saw the city passing by my window. Was in the crowd, but I felt so alone. Looked at my phone like every other second. My future was blurry and numb. A tunnel where there's no light. Oh, but then you came and sat right next to me. Your eyes, they glowed and filled me up. We had never met before that time, but I just knew that we'd end up. You took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together, together, together is always better. I don't want
Okay. Go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BTS Pro Series 12. We are coming up on that halfway mark here, or I guess potential halfway mark, of our grand final as this best of 5 is heading into its third game with the score all knotted up at 1-1. So, the turning point potentially here. Game 3, that sort of pivotal moment, winner of this game gets just one win away from claiming that title of Pro Series 12 champion, while the loser will have their back against the wall, facing down an elimination game. So, with that in mind, ET, we're hopping into the Game 3 draft, and, well, these bands have kind of bounced back a little bit to what they were looking like originally.
Yeah, feeling a little bit more typical, but the big difference is, well, 5 Rat with priority in Game 3 chose first pick, which means that I feel like there's almost no way we don't see the gyro come out right now. And let's see. It's not. It's the Jakiro. Okay, AB1. See, Merlin, get out of here. I wanna play my hero no matter what this game. But very interesting. And I feel like now, 5 Rat, it cannot just be the Jakiro now. We're going for first pick like this. The second phase is always going to favor the team with last pick. So it makes you wonder what is going to be their pick on 8 here. What is going to be your almost uncounterable hero to answer what SG are going to want to put down here. Also, to note, no Batrider again. We'll see if that ban actually comes through.
Okay.
They swap it up. They say, okay, we're going to dip into maybe those Raven strats a little bit here. And we get to see our first bestial offlaner all day today. We finally see somebody who's going to get that game going, push down those tier 1s very quickly, immediately turn it into a Vlad's, and then they're looking at Rosette 14, 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's a hero that had been a little bit sort of ignored. I say ignored, it was kind of banned a few times within this series and the previous one, but SG will grab it. They'll grab the Hoodwink as well for LTH. Honestly, I feel like that's one of his better heroes in terms of just general activity levels. He does like to be active and aggressive on that Hoodwink, and between himself and a Beastmaster, that lane's not going to be fun for the 5-Rat side.
No, not at all. And of course, the reason that they go for the Beastmaster like this is because 5-Rat led with their 5. They say, oh, it's going to be a Jakiro. Don't have to worry about CM. Don't have to worry about Enchantress. Oh, okay, maybe have to worry about Enchantress just because it's slightly more flexible. But I feel like this is where they're in a pretty good spot. They're pretty satisfied. Not to mention, if you don't see 5-Rat try to claw back some of that initiative with perhaps a Visage pick, just because it feels ugly and it would look ugly as well, well, then I don't really understand the pick order right now, because I feel like you'd want to just immediately try to answer this one out with probably a hero from DNM. I feel like, honestly, just immediately sending the Faceless Void might not be too bad here, but that's where, again, 5-Rat in choosing first pick before the series has even started, they must have had something in mind,
Okay.
and I suppose it's just going to be the Pango, which, of course, versus Beastmaster, might need to be slightly more careful, but versus the creeps, you are fantastic.
Yeah, you are going to be able to work quite nicely, and it's pretty much Kits' best hero, so you got to play it at least one time in a best of 5, otherwise your draft strategy is a little bit weird. But now they have to go for that obligatory Bloodseeker ban. That'll come out immediately, so you do kind of just burn one of your own bans right at the very start, but you can't do it. You just can't let it through.
Yeah, I feel like the easy ones, probably Bloodseeker, Invoker, and honestly, even a value Batrider ban might be nice, because, well, if they get a later on stage Batrider, that's where maybe he ends up being a little bit less countered, and we've seen, of course, the Pango versus Batrider lane twice already in this tournament, and both times, not pretty, not fun to watch or play or exist, just not at a very good time. But that's where they actually ban out the Naga Siren. Okay, I'm down for it. Hate that hero. Really just not a fun Dota hero to watch and not a fun Dota hero to play with. If you're the Naga, you're having a great time, but no, I like it a lot. Any hero that's going to be an answer to this Beastmaster is now most likely going to get shoved aside. I feel like that they should just keep prioritizing what should be DNM's next heroes in line here. Heroes like the Monkey King, heroes like even the PA, I think, almost deserving a respect ban, but that's where we'll have to see what they actually value here. And as we keep on bringing up in this best of 5, both Yuma and DNM with such overlapping hero pools, there might be that steal. In respect banning the axe, okay, that's
Yeah.
the best of 5 effect right there. Saying, okay, are we really going to give you the same hero you played last game? No, 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 no. We're going to go for something else. But, of course, because of the respect ban, it opens up the hero pool. So something else is going to get through.
And especially considering at this point, the ban on the axe is widening the pool, but it's not just widening the pool in terms of looking at speeds heroes. That is another ban that didn't get used on a DNM option. So now you're in a little bit of a weird territory with him as well. They do eventually ban out a DNM hero, but it's 5-Rat themselves who do it by taking away that Faceless Void. But then, ET, back to your point, a lot of overlap with the pools between him and Yuma, so okay, fine. DNM doesn't get to play Faceless Void, but neither does Yuma.
Yeah, and I think that's where in this game there is going to be a lot of taking, stealing. It's where the Morphling kind of sitting at the back of the board right now, also evading a ban. Where I still think that hero should probably be the most hotly contested hero in this matchup, but we'll have to see. In SG, ton of reserve time. They can afford to kind of wait things out here. They could go in a wide variety of different situations. Should probably just lead with their 5 though. Keep it pretty standard here. Just pick up Prana's hero choice. You know, it could go for a few options. Still don't think the CM is all too bad. Really, anything that's going to give you a little bit more lockdown is going to feel pretty nice. Also, kind of feel like the silencer looks pretty great so far here. No, you're not going to be able to get the deny pick, and they actually respect ban out the Enchantress. I like that. I like that. That was one of the heroes that Merlin made his debut with 5-Rat on, and just played 2 games of Enchantress in a row, got Hurricane play, got even the Ag Shard, I think. Just ended up being very obnoxious in playing his own game.
Yeah. So, respect now to a couple of heroes that weren't really receiving crazy amounts of attention before, right? With the Axe and the Enchantress, but also a scenario here if you're SG, it's not just that Merlin is so dangerous on it, but you did take a Beastmaster, so you kind of have to play a little bit of that game as, okay. SG go for the Rubik, so I'm not really sure which of the two, I guess, moves to the 5 here, ET, but somebody has to.
Yeah, and I feel like it's probably Prada, even though LTH already played Rubik in the series once before, just because I feel like LTH is more comfortable on the Hoodwink. I mean, LTH can easily play both, but I think it's more so that Prada is probably more comfortable on the Rubik, and then LTH gets to be your standout player, but no, it is interesting. Of course, plain and simple, you just say it's to counter the Jakiro. You get Ice Path. You have better Ice Path with the Spell Mastery, but other than that, it's different. It's not as strong as I want to say some of the other 5s are in the meta, which is a little bit troublesome, but also just another great hero to push out the waves. When it comes to wave clear, SG are very good at it right now, where 5-Rat might struggle a little bit more. And that is another different hero that gets picked up, but for a very good reason. Beastmaster's on board. He's going to get Helm of the Overlord. Won't just stick him around in his lane. Kill the Boars, kill his Hod creep, be very obnoxious. Does need some setup, though, and that's something that 5-Rat are still lacking here. And of course, in them banning their own Faceless Void, that's where we're going to need to see either a playmaker from Speed or DNM that constantly has his spells up. Otherwise, the lineup gets very difficult to play, and I think that's where they absolutely want to avoid that territory. And they're spending a lot of time thinking here. They really are running down the clock.
Up on 10 seconds remaining here with, well, I'm not really sure what pick that they're going to be making. Could go in either direction. They will opt for the carry, and it is going to be the Dusa, but, well, I don't know. ET, they blink first. They take their carry here, so this final sort of set of bans really has to be in place to protect the DNM Dusa as much as possible. But, well, I don't know. There's still going to be heroes that Yuma could play, but I'm sure you could knock off one or two of the most threatening ones, unless SG just want to take their own carry right here at the end of the phase.
Yeah, and that's where I think probably the easy ones are PL, Ursa. Those probably feel the best, but that's where I absolutely think that if Yuma wants to just rush order, of course, then he's picking into his lane a little bit more blind, but I honestly think that they could just go for those options and then he'd be fine. PL's the one that screams right now. And okay, now they go for the Batrider, and they get Batrider versus Pango. They'd be very patient, and now Yuma is going to be at the mercy of these 2 bans from 5-Rat Force Staff. but they absolutely made sure that this Pango is going to feel at least a little bit more locked in. And now, you also say to yourselves, if you're 5-rat, well, do we want to turn this into a flexible situation? Do we want to move the Pango to that 3 and then pick up a new mid laner right now? Because SG are going to ban as if they need another mid laner now. They're going to force you into this kind of unideal situation where Speed doesn't really want to play anything else, but you also have to remove that flexibility away from them. Otherwise, this could just be a Batrider that doesn't get his lane matchup again, and we've already seen how that's played out before.
Yeah, especially if the switch up that they make is to simply put kits on another Queen of Pain. Then all of a sudden your Batrider cries because you can't switch him anymore. Last time they just got around it by putting Oscar on it in the offlane, but you've taken a Beastmaster, so you are, for the most part, kind of locked in here, but we'll see what the call is. As of right now, SG, they're removing the Legion, which is still one of those heroes remaining in the pool that would have kind of ruined the Batrider's initiation. Do they care enough to maybe go a step further there? But in terms of heroes that would ruin the Batrider initiation, most of the ones remaining ET are supports, and Jakiro Murana already picked up, right?
Yeah, that's where I was really expecting more so the Quap or even the Puck ban at this point to, again, force kits onto that hero. And then I would have said that then they would just look for probably Invoker instead. But no, yeah, in banning this offlaner, I feel like they should probably split the bans though, just because there is that chance that
Right.
kits just turns it around and then you suddenly have an issue. Because if there's one thing that can be said for 5-rat is they want a little bit more AoE. They want something that's actually going to keep the Medusa around or keep their opponents around that Medusa during the Stone Gaze. Otherwise, you do just Flamebreaker away and then run and then you get the hell out of there. But sticking with the offlane bans, they think that it's going to be kits laning into this Batrider no matter what. And maybe that's their statement on what this matchup actually means and saying that it, I guess, is just going to be fine. Maybe slight advantage for the Batrider, but not thinking that 5-rat are going to flex things at all. They think that this is just going to be Speed's hero coming up.
And we'll see if they're correct or not, because it does seem like a little bit of a risk to take, but pick is in, and it's going to be a DK, which, technically speaking, doesn't quite answer that question, because they could run it 3, they could still try it 2 as well.
Yeah, and I am wondering where this DK pick comes from, because this is another pick that really hasn't been preempted by anything else in the tournament. I think this is probably the first, maybe second DK so far, just because the hero does not really feel that good anymore. And of course, DK versus Batrider, well, no, you don't want to be DK versus Batrider, but that's where I feel like there has to be some kind of movement here. It's also where DK Murana, well, sure, that's a lot of stun in that lane, and I'm sure that's going to maybe change what Yuma actually wants to play here, but it's not your DK Skywrath Mage. You can stun a hero for a great deal of time, but the damage is actually pretty slow from 5-rat in a very similar situation to Game 1, where I think they were able to fix it a lot better in that draft, but I don't know. DK, it'll open up the map a little bit more. It'll push down those towers real easily, but it's a hero that is only good at pushing towers. It doesn't tick those same boxes that the Beastmaster will, where you are much more of an all-rounder. So I do wonder where this DK comes from, and hope it works out, but I do even wonder if it is going to the offlane, because, again, something feels wrong.
Yeah. Well, what's it going up
TB.
against? Okay. Terrorblade versus Medusa, the carry matchup here, as we'll see who selects what on that 5-rat side. DNM takes the Medusa. That was never really up for debate, but it will be the Kits Pango, and Speed will take the DK to the offlane. So, okay. I mean, Pangolier versus Batrider, we have seen issues in the past, so that'll be a little bit concerning, ET, but maybe Kits can just power through it. But if that were the case, now, like you said, I'm kind of wondering what's up with the Speed DK.
Yeah, and of course, age-old lane, DK Murana, a lot of stun, really annoying, kind of tough to play against, and you're playing versus a 5 position that isn't the biggest stopper in the entire world. Rubik's not going to really be able to tank too many arrows for the range creeps. It's kind of unideal for him, but yeah, I just wonder if this is another hero to just open up the map maybe a little bit wider for you and give you some space to play in, but that's where all eyes are going to be on that mid matchup and seeing if Kits can kind of keep his head above water, because KXY got his matchup. They got the Bat versus Pango. Now it's all up to him to make this as miserable a game as possible for him. Or maybe Kits just makes the draw happen regardless of what history has shown us.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is the thing. as we said, right, the Pango versus Bat Rider lane has been a little one-sided, but the sample size has been a handful of games, right? And Kits has won matchups on the Pango before that we were maybe only expecting to be draws or things of that nature. So can't count him out here. And Five Rat certainly hoping that he's going to be a playmaker, because you need to make time for this Medusa, right? You need DNM to not only find a solid game, but continuously outpace a Terrorblade on the other side. So really are looking to the 2 and the 3 to be the ones setting the pace and making that space for them.
And we'll have to see, because on one side, you got a Medusa that needs a whole lot of time and a whole lot of space. And the other side, you got a Beastmaster who's just looking to take everything. There's going to be a whole lot of Beastmaster versus Pango in this game. Just each other trying not to die, trying not to get roared, trying to find the roar. Going to be a game of cat and mouse for sure, but we'll have to see. Media pause, though. The lag.
Yep.
Now, lag GLHF. Haha.
Well, they've been dealing with that pretty much the whole series through, so at this point, it's not, unexpected. You would hope at a certain point that it would kind of clear up or sort of go away, but no such luck as of yet. The good news is that none of these pauses previously in this series, or even our lower bracket final, went on for all that long, right? There were quite a few of them, but they were short in nature.
Yeah, I'm not too many disconnects, which I think is the bigger part. If there were a bunch of people dropping from the game, and you have to load back in, they have to restart your game, it ends up being really problematic. But instead, they're probably just all staring at the top right of their screen, waiting for their packet loss, or even their frames to just uptick a little bit. Who knows? But hopefully, we do get the game started. It's pretty soon here.
Well, players are at least having some fun doing a whole lot of scribbling across the map here, so they're at least keeping themselves entertained, the ones who aren't waiting for the lag to subside, at least. So with regards to that, ET, I don't know, is there anything possible in terms of these lanes being mixed up a little bit? Because it seems about as straightforward as you can possibly get here.
Yeah, this is going to be Beastmaster Hoodwink. It's going to be Rubik plus Terrorblade. There's no real reason to move it either, just because it's as solid as it can be. And yeah, just checking the starting items. Yeah, it's just going to be Kit's laning versus that Bat Rider mid, but have to see. All it takes is one kill, though, honestly, for either side. And then that lane turns on its head. It's also where you do wonder how much we're going to see those supports show up into the lane. 'Cause I feel like for both sides, we should probably see supports every minute on the minute, and maybe that's something to be said for the DK versus Terrorblade, because once the meta's been used, once the supports rotate out of lane, once you're in a 1v1, then, well, speed should just deny pretty much everything, and just being able to play around that Dragon Tail should be enough of an advantage to at least stick around there. But I do wonder where the DK comes from, something to ask about, perhaps, but we'll have to see. Because right now, nobody's showing. Very defensive wards yet again from both sides. Trying to scout as much as you can, but doesn't look like we're going to get very much combat here.
Yeah, nobody's really going too far forward, which, fair enough, right? With the setup, I guess there is a little bit of kill potential here from the SG side, but it kind of all comes down to really getting maybe a bushwhack in play, which they are trying to push their way across the river. And AB1, yeah, thought for a moment maybe he wants to fight for the rune, but he's not actually going to try and do so. Instead, he's trying to get away, but there's that bushwhack coming into play, and, well, if you hit it, it lasts for a hell of a long time. Fadebolt instead of telekinesis there as well, just to make sure they had the extra damage, and Oscar's the one to get first blood.
Yeah, and Fable, it's what you want in lane as well.
Yep.
Don't want to have to worry about waiting for your level 2. You can at least get that first range creep. But interestingly, Yuma has decided to get the Conjure Image, and of course, the reason he's doing it is so that way he can body block for this range creeps, but Merlin says, okay, I get what your scam is. I'm just going to arrow you instead. Nice damage trade onto Yuma, but that's where Yuma, knowing that the Rubik's just a little bit of a weaker laner, saying, okay, if my 5 can't tank the arrow, well, I can micro. My Conjure Image will.
Yeah, it's a fair enough play, and then he can just honestly go for the meta at two, and it's the same play with the farm. It's just it's maybe one creep wave later than usual. So he's gonna be just fine with this setup. Of course, speed, well, went for the stun himself here. So Dragon Tail Arrow, even at level 1, is something that I don't know if Yuma has to be all that afraid of it because the timing's kind of short there. But if Prada gets hit by it, your Rubik is not really going to last very long.
Oh, and even if he does get stunned, 9 armor, you know, Terrorblade things, you should just be fine. To where the Rubik is really that much easier of a kill. But until then, pretty boring bottom line.
Yeah, they're just trading a little bit of damage back and forth. Meanwhile, taking a look over at the mid lane, this is the one that we want to keep an eye on here. KXY already trying to play up a little bit here, saving a skill point, seeing maybe if he can catch Kits a little bit too far forward. Although at this point, Kits actually has... Okay, it's maybe like a quarter level on him, but it does put him at level 3 first, as Yuma is able to get the kill onto speed there, and... Well, that's about as simple as it gets. Telekinesis in, Fade Bolt into meta, and the only defensive play that they had was an arrow out from Merlin, so... If you're speed, this is a little bit what you get, right? You don't have the Dragon's Blood, so you're not actually that tanky right now.
Yeah, and that's really the punish that they needed to find, just knowing that speed is low level and that just get maybe 1 or 2 denies over him, so they find the punish. Feels pretty good for you, and get a nice chunk of gold going your way, because you got the first blood bonus, but yeah. No, not too bad, but we'll have to see, because this lane, I feel like really shouldn't be that exciting, but it's the misplays like that and just tanking maybe a few too many creeps as actually Prada, well, you're on the boring side of the lane, but that is the sign that we'll just straight up try and kill you. Did A-click and actually accidentally right-clicked onto the range creep. Would have been 2 hits anyway, but very close on the Rubik.
Prada really doesn't have any regen to work with now, so he's kind of just got to sit back and wait for his courier, but I'll tell you what, it sure as hell beats being dead at this point if you're the Rubik, so he's going to be just fine here. Courier, that wasn't his courier, this is his courier. Bringing out some tangos and a Bassi, so Basilius play out from the support is, I mean, it's still not a bad play, it's just a lot of other position 5s don't really look at it. But you are the Rubik, situation's ever so slightly different compared to normal position 5 supports, right?
Yeah, and it's just quality of life for Yuma. Yuma already has a Basilius even queued up for himself just because you are the carry that spends a little bit more mana. Maybe that Basilius ends up turning into a Falcon Blade for all we know, but definitely one of the more expensive carries you could be playing here. But this lane does just end up being pretty easy for him to play. Not the most exciting stuff. But mid lane, very close. Gets doing his job. Of course, not making any of the characteristic mistakes, though. Going for Boots Wand over just immediately getting that bottle. He is getting those consistent napalm resets as opposed to just shoving his face into the Bat Rider and getting punished. So this is, honestly, that draw that so many Bat Riders have been unable, or how many Pangos have been unable to get.
And Kits does still have to play back a little bit when KXY does things like this, but, well, as much as it screams against your instinct to have to play back this passively, if you die in this lane, you're kind of screwed, so Kits is being a lot more cautious here. KXY is still trying to hit him up, but the Firefly's here, but he doesn't have the stacks, and yeah, Merlin's coming in. This is going to get kind of awkward. There's going to be the Starstorm. He has to hit this arrow, though, but he's not able to do so, and KXY is just going to TP away. Swashbuckle's not enough damage. Maybe if he had the shield crash, he gets in there, but all things considered, you know, that goes pretty well. He has to TP all the way back to base, so he's got a long walk to return to lane, and by the time he gets here, maybe Kits hits level 6 already.
Yeah, whole bunch of wasted time, honestly, and you're pretty happy with that circumstance. Did take the pressure away from your from the Terrorblade just a little bit here, but Pango has his bottle now. He's got a Blightstone as well. He is very satisfied with the way his lane is going. Meanwhile,
up top, DNM and AB1 playing what by design should be a pretty boring lane for the 5-rat side too, because DNM's just here to farm, throw out his Mystic Snake. Oscar is just gonna kind of do his own thing and not a whole lot should come of this. Of course, the potential catalyst in that lane would be LTH, but LTH as of right now is hanging out in the river looking to secure some runes, but as he goes for the rune, his teammates go for the kill, but Kits had already gotten the haste, so once that lasso wears off, he just walks away.
Yeah, and again, swing and a miss. Just fully bottle up, go get the bounty runes that are also uncontested, and Kits is making his way towards that Beastmaster, but he's going to be the difference maker here, and let's see. Oh, okay, never mind. I don't think there's any way you can kill him now, and yeah, Kits will decide to think better of that too. A little bit awkward from Kits, especially because there's no real reason for him to stick around either, so he will just make the long walk back to mid, but I've seen worse rotations.
Yeah, didn't really cost him anything other than maybe a little bit of time, so he will return to lane where KXY is just kind of sitting and farming, and KXY is a pretty decent margin ahead of his opponent here, right? 500 in terms of the net worth, so not a bad start for this bat, but it's not the aggressive lane-winning sort of style that we had seen the last couple of times in this matchup, which is exactly what Kits is kind of hoping for, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just hoping that you can draw out, drag out the lane as much as you can, still get those very consistent levels, and then we'll have to see what KXY actually ends up doing, because KXY, well, the reason why LTH wasn't in the lane all too much is so that he could do this, and is probably going to look at a very swift Boots of Travel timing, because these are some massive stacks. Even though it does hurt. Hurts a lot more than the previous Batrider was able to farm, but still, just as safe, just as easy.
Grabs himself a fairy trinket there as well. Grabs himself a lot of items, wow. Neutral's just dropping like crazy there, so send some of those back. Still kind of getting beat up a little bit, but he is going to clear it all out in the end.
Yeah, that's all of them. Thanks, KXY. But does kill Oscar. Yeah,
Can they
gets
get
aggressive.
the Dom? Yeah.
Ooh,
Okay.
nice. Goes to DNM as well. Medusa is very happy with that, but super big punish there. And of course, just trying to make something happen there. But while all of that farming was going on, LTH took over the mid lane to get some XP, so it was almost bound to happen there. Just a lot of alone time for that Beastmaster. But DNM, was KXY really going to try this? He doesn't have all too much mana to work with, and I think DNM is just dead. He doesn't even need a lasso.
Yeah. Kind of surprising
Boots of
there,
Travel
and then
gone.
AB1. Well, you're wondering why is DNM alone? It's because the Jakiro's out here on his opponent's side of the map, and he's going to get picked off as well.
Going, trying to ward, but immediately gets dewarded, and we'll see that there is quite the impressive force stack here, but Boots of Travel are on your way, and Batrider easily top of the net worth. Kits is trying to get aggressive on the other side and now make a play onto that Terrorblade, but really just not panning out right now, and they even ping out the ward, so that's going to get dewarded as soon as Yuma just micros an illusion to go over there, but just feeling like SG are getting a little bit more out of the lanes right now, even though I think now it is time to start getting these tower trades going. Speed just hit level 6, so probably time to dissolve some of these tier 1s, and then net worth will shift slightly.
Both pushes are stymied for now by the glyphs coming out, but oh, they're looking for maybe a little bit more than the glyph here with Merlin coming over. They want the fight. Kits is pinging out that he's going to be there, but how quickly does he actually arrive? He's making his way over right now, quick as he can, but this is not going to be an easy kill. Yuma has a point up in the Sunder, so you have to keep him stun. Oh, okay. Have to keep him stun locked as he just Sunders right then. Speed. Now knocked back by the Flame Break. Telekinesis hit onto him as well, but Kits is going to try to make his move, coming in with the Rolling Thunder, but he's not hitting anything, and now he's got to use the rest of that Rolling Thunder to get away. That was, is terrible still, because the lasso connects, the Fade Bolt is in, Kits has to try and just fight his way out. He does get one. That's not going to be worth it. That's going to be a 2-for-1 trade, and while all that goes down, ET Oscar says, cool, free tower.
Yeah, the Beastmaster moves in. Medusa cannot really decide to defend there, and now we're going to see the Beastmaster rotate to mid at the end of the day. Just simple stuff from SG, but definitely felt like Kits got played a little bit there. Just unable to find any very fast connections. No setup either, and that's, again, one of the issues with the draft. It feels like they've got a lot of control, but it needs to lead into each other. In Speed, of course, in that situation, being unable to turn around, get the Dragon Tail, it just could never be a connection into a connection into a connection. Just ended up falling by the wayside. And now the tower push comes, but as we keep on saying, behind the
Oh.
exchange and the reaction, everybody's coming here. And do you have enough support? Well, certainly not for AB1. Speed's able to walk this one out, but still feels like 5-Rat are playing maybe a little bit too slow here. And then all of a sudden, 4K gold lead for SG.
XY is here. He's got Rolling Thunder now, but he's going to take a sharpshooter to the face. This is concerning. Drop low already. He is going to get that Rolling Thunder off, but Prada just stole it. He's going to roll his way forward. It's the cube on top of 2, and they're just going to leave Kits, but Kits is going to lose his first. Can Prada get the angle right? Well, who needs an angle when you have Fade Bolt and Vision? He just takes Kits down himself.
Yeah, during all that, Oscar pushes all the way up to the tier 2, kicks out the Medusa, who rotates over to the triangle, and DNM surely will be able to get some of these stacks started, but okay, Prada maybe goes down here, but who's dying to KXY is the real question, and I think, well, nice TP reactions there. I think you should be able to survive, you will get out, but the entire bottom lane has to evacuate after the Rubik kill, and the tier 1 stays.
Tower still standing. Meanwhile, the tier 1 mid took a little bit of chip damage out from Yuma. DNM came over to clear it out, so the Medusa is starting to get a little bit of work done on the defensive end, but in terms of his farming rate, you see him really kind of falling a little ways further behind compared to the TB, and he was able to defend the tower once, but with a more concentrated effort, he can't get in there again.
Yeah, and look at with the Hawk Vision. They're trying to
Push
bait right now, but,
rack.
oh, it's huge.
On to 2,
The Secure's in
sharpshooter
front, though.
channeling. Yeah, they'll take the easy kill. Okay. Would have been nice to get Kits there, but no need to get too greedy about it.
Yeah, maybe if the Bushwhack didn't drag the Jakiro in front, they could have switched targets, but it doesn't matter too much. You still feel pretty happy about it. Oscar was also just gunning for a Primal Roar there, but wasn't able to find it, but still, doesn't matter. You're kicking out anybody from 5-Rat up towards this Beastmaster's lane. He's just going to continue to farm, continue to build up. He's already got the Vlads finished. Going to look for the Helm of the Overlord next. And then, as we always see with these heroes, SG will force their opponents to fight them in the pit, where, oh, you better hope you win that team fight, because otherwise things really start to go awry here. But that's also where the rest of the cores aren't skipping a beat. KXY, only one component away from his BKB. Of course, you've got Yuma, who's just farming up, looking great with his timings, looking for that early Manta style. And then, well, 5-Rat, what do you got? You got a Blink Dagger on speed, looking for Diffusal Blade still on Kits. Still feels like even though that lane ended up going a lot better for Pango than we really have seen anybody else's, still very slow. And now they know about the smoke, the Hawk scouted it out. A lot more wasted time that the Pango's not going to get onto anyone, and dragging him away from the runes, 14 minutes, probably just going to get killed or picked up by the Batrider.
Now, look to LTH. He's kind of hanging out here. If these heroes split up a little bit too far, he would only really need one core to come in.
When they
to
do
help
see him.
Okay. No play to be made. Instead, he's the one getting played on, and that's a nice little maneuver from 5-Rat. It maybe wasn't the hero they wanted when they smoked up his 3, but they need money. They need something. They need Kits to get a little bit more of a boost, and that certainly does help.
Definitely does, but then back bottom, boots of travel play. Tried to kill the creep, but it doesn't matter unless you want to TP down the entire lineup. Heroes that don't have their ultimates, well, Speed's dead. Bought out his Blink Dagger, though, so he will have that and a smoke for when he respawns, but this bottom tier 1 is still alive. They just weren't able to kill it in the clean rotation, and now, next time they go at it, well, you're going to have a BKB Batrider who's going to be looking to just run at you. Best case scenario now for 5-Rat is if they could just catch the Batrider before he gets the BKB off and then just pop him. But then, of course, there is the issue of burst damage that still they weren't really able to fix in their draft. And I do wonder if Control, Control is great, but will you be actually able to get a lot of these kills? Because 5-Rat are going to get aggressive with this Blink Dagger. I just hope they have enough damage to actually back it up. Otherwise, they're going to look like fools.
Yeah, I mean, this combo is going to be here, right? You've got Blink, you've got Dragon Tail, you've got Arrow, but if there's no damage afterwards, then yeah, you just walk away, and that play is not really all that important. As SG looking for a bigger play, Kits is in trouble. There's the roar. There's, oh, just a straight... Oh, hold on. Nope, never mind. Kit's swashbuckle goes right into the path of the Firefly. AB1's going to fall here as well. KXY gets both kills. And just when 5-Rat wanted to try and go on the offensive, wanted to try and find somebody ET, they're the ones who get caught. And, okay, LTH takes one right click and then walks away, and Speed's kind of too far to blink in now.
Yep, and then on with the Overlord into the pit. Pretty much the freest the Aegis you could ask for. Not like a DNM would have wanted to get aggressive on this Medusa this early, but it just feels like there's too many active cores on SG. Everybody's getting involved, and that was cheap. That was about as cheap as you could ask for. Primal Roar's going to be up in another minute. They stole so much. Meta's really the longest cooldown you ended up committing, but... Oh, yeah.
Do they know which one's the real one? Yeah, they can take a guess. But there's going to be...
so much wasted time.
Bushwhack. Stone Gaze does work, though. Sharpshooter still hits, however, and he has no mana, and here comes Yuma on the back line. They still get the lasso down, so the Mirana can't do anything here. And now Merlin just got to try and get away himself, because Yuma is pushing forward. Another Bushwhack thrown out, not going to connect, but look at the TPs in. 5-Rat realizing, got to do something. That's not really something. That's a blink stun onto an illusion. Prada gives him the tip, just kind of poking fun at his opponent there, and that was Dragon Form used too. So now, what do 5-Rat even really have? They've got Rolling Thunder, and that feels like it's kind of it. Gave up Ice Path.
Yeah, and he will just place an obs there so he can actually get that D word going, so a little bit of real estate reclaimed here, but Speed, well, he's out on his own. I mean, the rest of the chorus have kind of evacuated, but again, you just look like you're not able to make a play here. It's just where every play up until this point has not been successful enough, and in as low kill a game it is, the supports on 5-Rat are not really able to snowball in the same way that SGs are, because you are getting luxury items. You are getting Force Staffs, you're getting Aether Lenses, you get the Ag Shard on Prada, and then suddenly, well, your Blink DK stun is going to get ruined. They're going to lift the target out. It's where I think right now, 5-Rat, they're not connecting early enough here. And sure, Kit's just got his Diffusal Blade, but when I say just, 18 minutes is not a Diffusal Blade timing. It's just kind of goes to show that he was not able to make too many of those early game plays happen, and you're kind of feeling the pain across the board here.
And the idea of him surviving that lane against the Batrider and not getting pressured up was that he would hit 6, he would make rotations, and he would make up for not being able to win that lane by finding kills elsewhere, and we just really haven't seen that. So he does very well to not let the Batrider bully him, but he's not doing any bullying himself as DNM. This is a little bit of a risky one. They're going to drop the roar. Yeah, that's going to force some TPs back, but oh, now the lineup is staggered. Half the lineup's in one direction, the other half is sitting mid. Speed's going to try and go in for the stun. They get the arrow onto L2H. No, it's the arrow onto KXY because he blinks into it. But honestly, that works out just fine. They're going to now push their way forward. Speed gets caught. Ice Path comes out. Macro Pyre's going to follow. So they're looking for Yuma. And Yuma, he does not care. He's got the Aegis. He's got the Sunder. He's just going to heal up. DNM has to get away, but he can't do it. The Lasso's going to catch him. He's going to get pulled back into everyone as the Stolen Ice Path locks him down. Yuma grabs the triple. KXY can't catch Kits. But really, the Kits kill would have only been extra. At this point, they get everything that they want. They take the fight. They take the tower. And Meta's still up for a fourth of its duration, so why not? Let's hit the tier 3 while we're at it.
Yeah, and well, Arrow flies, gets blocked by another illusion, because Yuma is just playing on a different level this game. And Aegis will be gone in a minute and 40 seconds, but that's still a lot of time that you're just going to be able to chill around, walk around, keep those D-words coming. It just feels like 5-Rat are not really finding any openings at this point, and well, this is a desperation smoke if I've ever seen one. Trying to capitalize on their vision in the mid lane, seeing if a hero is going to exit out of the triangle and then just show mid, and that would be LTH, and, well, they should just jump him, and okay, he jumps himself in, so there's your punish onto that hoodwink, but will this be a mid-tower push? No, of course not, because if they do... Oh, and actually...
Okay.
KXY? Okay, the mistakes, they're starting to add up. Blinks for the rune, just kills himself in the nighttime as well, and... Well, now what was about to be a joke of a push mid might end up working.
Yeah, they might actually get the tower after all, so... A little bit awkward there from your Batrider, but hey. Yeah, he's going to be back up soon. They should still be able to recover from that error on the SG side. As Yuma... Yeah, he wants in, pushing forward with 40 seconds left on the Aegis, just trying to put it to use, but 5 Red know their limits. They take the tower and they back themselves away. Not going to get suckered into any sort of large-scale engagement right now.
Yeah, but a little bit of confidence. Age is ticking out as well, so they know they can maybe afford to look for another team fight. Honestly, biggest problem right now is just that there isn't really an easy way for DNM to catch up. He's still fighting pretty much an entire item behind the Terrorblade, which is never where you want to be, because Scotty is now finished on Yuma, so he is ready to take you and slaughter you where you are not going to escape. It's where, honestly, a solution could be him just buying a Hurricane Pike and, well, AB1. Okay. Got a BKB and a sharpshooter for his trouble, but other than that, very cheap kill, very easy, and gonna lose his ward now.
Yep. D-Ward comes through. They were looking for a moment to see if those illusions out of DNM were real. Obviously they weren't, but with the way that they're angling, the Hawk's coming over. It sees the real one. Yeah, TP now. Dive bomb?
On the root.
Oh, it cancels. Of course, that doesn't mean that there's no TP now from KXY, but they still have the fight that they want, and DNM has 0 backup. He's not even going to pop the Stone Gaze, realizing, yeah, that one's over. There's no way out.
That's a very depressing kill. But now, immediately onto the tier 2 bottom. I think they are pretty aware of the position that they're in at this point. KXY has the Aether Lens as well, so he can actually lasso a Pango during his roll, mid-roll. Doesn't have to necessarily pop the BKB immediately, even though I feel like he'd do it just in case, but they're still looking pretty fine right now. They're still playing in 2 of these lanes. Luma's just left to kill off this tier 2 tower. They're looking for the play mid and kits. Oh, blink on blink, but he's faster. And does he get it off? Oh, he's baiting.
Oh.
And he will eventually, but little did he know that that was a much more dangerous situation than he probably could have found himself in. But bottom, well, your Medusa's still dead. Where are your defenders?
It's just illusions for now, but they still need to address it because the tower is getting chipped at. Stun actually onto Oscar there. His speed does get all the way out, but there's that play from Prada. Yeah, you call it, ET. The second he's got that shard, Speed can no longer make that initiation.
And then, if he can't make the initiation, well, you just use Rolling Thunder. There's nothing in... Oh,
Lasso,
no!
they
Not
pulled
DNM.
DNM. Sharpshooter hits him as well. He's able to Manta out. He's going to pop the Stone Gaze. That allows him to reset, but the root comes in from the dive bomb. Another root from the second Hawk, but they're not chasing all the way forward at this point. They're still just looking for damage onto the tower. The Glypto's going to slow them up, and KXY's in some trouble. Yuma trying to push forward. Telekinesis. Yeah, that's the problem. It still has that lift time, as they are trying to get onto the TB now as well. Does he have time for the Sunder? He's getting stunned, but the Sunder goes off. He swaps with kits, and now he turns. Speed taken down. DNM, well, he was able to heal up after that last encounter, so he's back on the front line, ET, and looks like his presence is enough to push SG back. But, okay, he's got dual breath, not bad. And he's going to turn it right back around onto a Jakiro who gets caught out immediately.